Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gearwire Crosstalk Shower Program, episode number 32. As always, I am your very own Mike Payne. This is Britton Weatherall, my buddy, my muse. Okay, no, not on camera, bro. What'd I tell you? And Drew Krag over there.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Drew?
Excellent.
Good to hear. And of course, Dan Augusto. What's going on, Dan? Yeah,
some rock, some stuff.
yeah, some funk.
Yeah, some funk,
some Barry
rock,
White,
some jazz.
Yeah, okay,
some stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you know that jazz was actually in the early 20s in America? The white people were changing it to jazz, Jass, because in Western Africa the word jazz was actually a word for sex. So if you called someone jazzy, you were calling them sexy, and the white people got all freaked out and changed it to Jass.
Those
for a while.
white people.
You know, they ruin everything.
Well,
Goddamn crackers!
What's that? Is it the other way around?
Yeah, it was originally Jass.
Oh. Okay.
Damn crackers!
Actually, because part of it too had to do with the fact that people would come by the club and like cross out the J.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I know that from LeVar Burton.
Okay, nice.
From LeVar Burton of Reading Rainbow? Wow.
Wow, wow.
Damn.
Nice. Nice. Hats off. So a couple of things we're going to talk about this week. First of all, we got some reader mail to take a look at, and next we'll go to the Digital Black Raven DRT, that's drum replacement therapy, and we've also got the Blue Cat Parametry Q.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've pronounced it right.
It's a Parametry
so far.
Q version 3.
Version 3, okay, and there's some cool updates we're going to discuss on that. And last but not least, we've got the Guild GAD30 and the Guild GAD50, which our very own Drew Krag is going to play, and I guarantee you it's going to sound beautiful, so stick around for that.
And the word of the day is restraint.
Yes, which Britton is going to exercise today, I guarantee it.
Restraint.
Yes. All right, let's get started. All right, so first up this week, we've got some viewer mail thanks to Thomas Brodkorp from Oslo, Norway. Thomas, I'm sorry if I slaughtered your name, but getting into Thomas's email, hi. First of all, let me thank you guys for a great show, and I think we all welcome you and thank you for watching along. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from many Crosstalk episodes, which I have used in my projects. As it is, I am just starting out with the whole recording thing, and I love it. In connection with this, I'd really like to see some more material on how to in recording music. But even more important to me is how not to, especially with drums and vocals. If anyone knows how not to better than Britton Weatherall, I don't even know where else to look. I think I'm in a very similar position to many of the viewers regarding the amount of gear available for each project, and so the challenge is to get the raw tracks as good and workable as possible, but with limited resources. I really loved the episode on how to mix the drum kit, but how about you give a few hints and tips on how to get a good set of raw drum and vocal tracks to tape, disc in my case. I'm not thinking only of microphone choices, but mostly of different ways of getting good results, as I mentioned, how not to do it. Keep up the good work. By the way, Dan, you're right. Sonar kicks ass. From, again, Thomas Brodkorp from Oslo, Norway.
I got a question for you, man.
For me?
No, for
Thomas?
For Thomas.
Uh-huh.
How's the Norwegian metal scene?
I
Awesome.
bet it's
Yeah.
brutal, man.
Is it brutal?
Is it brutal in the best of ways, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, brutality is a good thing.
So here's the
when it
deal.
comes to- I mean,
We'll answer
obviously.
your question if you import us some Norwegian black metal.
Yeah. From the email, it doesn't sound like he's that into metal.
Yeah.
he's fair.
Send us some freaking Norwegian black metal,
I'd
man.
like to find out what Thomas is into.
I mean, I don't really mind. If you're not metal, that's okay.
To kind of briefly answer your question about what not to do with drums, don't over mic, especially if you're going for a specific sound. There's also don't forget to add a room mic if you're looking for room tone.
I think that's actually a mistake for a lot of amateurs. You're not recording in a great spot, and I think the thing you want to do is take the room out of the drum, or take the room out of the recording as much as you can.
That's a popular thing, but sometimes you want a good dirty room.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but I think if you want something sounding like professional, radio professional, I know that's not everyone's bag, but if you're looking for that, a lot of times you want to take the room out and then add the room in with DSP.
Sometimes I've heard some really good recordings that are done with just the room tone itself.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you have all the legendary stuff. The thing is that like those good recordings, probably the most popular is the drum sound on When the Levee Breaks. Yeah, it's like one microphone in a stairwell, but it was a particular stairwell, and they're recording through some of the best equipment like ever, like assembled.
Who recorded that again?
I don't know who recorded it, but I know they were using like
I did.
I know they were using like just like the best channel strips. Wonder Audio is the guy who actually made their EQs. So I mean, he didn't make their EQs, but he actually bought the transformers that were left and then like reverse engineered them, and he makes them now, and they're excellent EQs. They're some of the most musical EQs. So I mean, you have that, and you have excellent preamps, and you have a pretty good
but like the thing
room.
is rooms. It depends. I mean, sometimes you get a really crappy room, and you're correct. You're really correct. But I would, I'm a very big proponent of simple drum mic setups where it's like 3 to 4 mics on the drum kit. You know what I mean?
I like the sound, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of my preference. But I also do, you may not end up using that room tone mic. You may end up deleting the track, but just putting the mic there, just in case you want to add a little bit of that, it doesn't hurt.
I would say if your room isn't that great, I'm assuming it's not that great because you're just starting out. You may be lucky and have a great room. I would say, yeah, if you want to add a room mic, but don't
lean on it.
Yeah, don't sort of move your priorities to a room mic. Keep your best stuff on the close mics, because that's probably what you're going to end up using.
Experiment with it a little bit.
Yeah, but and it also depends on the drum sound. There's a lot of factors that you're taking into account. I think probably
and the player too.
Yeah. One thing that I would definitely say, because Dan is right on the money here. You definitely have a very good point. But I think what we need to backtrack even before mic setups and everything is what not to do is to not plan. You have to have a good idea of what you want sound-wise already. You know what I mean? Like we just had this discussion about sound, like the way that you would extract the sound. What you need to do before you do any of this stuff is to go back and go, hey, what kind of sound? Am I looking for a big sound or a small sound? Am I looking for a good professional reverb, saturated DSP sound? Or am I looking for kind of more of an edgier, trashy drum sound?
Yeah, and also, reference CDs that you like. Music, I don't know. Like if you like, if you're a Nine Inch Nails fan, you're probably going to want to use a distorted room mic and compress the hell out of it. But if you're more into like the Barry White sound,
then you're going to want to just
do close mics, and that's it.
Mics, yeah.
And keep it real dry.
Yeah.
And the other
I'm
thing
kind
is,
of into both personally.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
the other thing is, of course,
Whatever
this is
you
pretty
need.
obvious. This is pretty obvious, but how you tune the kit makes a huge
huge
difference. And of course, there's only so much you can do once you've tuned the kit a certain way to make it sound that way. So
don't tune it to notes. I'm full of shit. I'm sorry.
think about specifically what Dan and Britton said. Think about specifically what you're looking for and tune your drum kit accordingly. Because once it's recorded, there's not much you can do to change, like you said, the pitch or anything.
Well, you
like
can
that.
actually tune your drum kit to notes, which is interesting, but I don't actually recommend at this stage in the game even thinking about that because it is really kind of like one of those things.
They
That
got
is pretty wild.
They got like drum tuners and
Yeah.
things you can place on the drum to help you out. And actually, a drummer that came over to record at my place actually tuned the drums for me, and they recorded amazing. After that, and their notes and. Another thing is you tune to notes that like your band is
playing
used to playing in, like notes in the scale.
Yeah.
And above that, experiment with where you put the drums in the room. Even if you don't have a good room, every room has its sweet spots, even the bad ones.
Well,
so.
if you're gonna close mic, ring out your toms. I forgot to say that.
Ring them out.
Yeah, ring them out. Like get the sweet spot, like angle them properly.
Oh yeah. And what Drew said about it. If you are using fewer mics, where you place the drums in the room is extremely important. Like a lot of people will find that they'll get that they'll have too much like hi-hat and they can't really control it. So what you need to do is actually move the drum set further away from walls. So what you're getting is high frequency reflections off the walls, and that's actually a common problem. So you want to be further away from walls if the sound is sort of brittle sounding and you're getting too much like cymbals, particularly the hi-hat, which is mostly the most problematic cymbal.
Yeah.
Higher ceilings are nice if you have the option.
Yeah. Not many people do, though.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't either. I had to get rid of the foam ball thing because it was like bugging me.
Yeah, it was a little ratty. It's been on the road.
Yeah, dude, it was like starting to like come apart. And
It's been
like,
loved.
near my mouth. It's just like
It's been loved. It smelled like Badusi. Anyway,
Yeah.
Don't want to know.
uncomfortable silence.
Well,
so moving right along. The next topic of discussion is the Digital Black Raven drum replacement therapy. We've got a demo of that, and we're going to check it out. Essentially, it's just a drum replacement plugin.
Kind of like Sound Replacer.
Kind of like Sound Replacer.
pretty much exactly, yeah.
Price US is around $70, and it's pretty interesting. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, these are already pretty good. We have I have stereo mixes of these. Not a big deal. What Raven's going to do is actually make it into mono. So we're all set there. Actually, let's just give these drums a listen. We recorded this at Studio Chicago. This is my old band. This is just the drums. And you're going to hear, the snare is not exactly what we want. It sounds like a garbage can.
Yeah, it's like a tin can.
What I think happened is the engineer EQ'd the snare to tape. I wasn't engineering this, so we kind of got something that's not that great.
It's something that really kind of bugs me is when people do things to tape. Like
I particularly like doing things to tape. I won't do it in like a real important thing for someone else, But when I know what I want, I know what I want, and then I can save, basically, if you EQ and compress the snare on the way in, then you can use that EQ and compression on something else on the way out. That's my philosophy.
Well, I mean, in the case of digital recording, it's true. I'm actually thinking just like in just a logical setup. You know what I mean? Just like this is kind of has to do with recording philosophy for me right now. Is that when you record straight to tape, just like let's say you have multiple takes, unlimited EQs and stuff like that. I tend to go, I don't want to do it straight to tape because I would like, if I do want to keep something, I can either just, I need to free it up later. I can always bounce it to another track and then just erase the track.
See, actually, and this was done on an SSL board, and he used, I think, a Pultec EQ on it, but he just took out all the low end. So, whatever. No big deal.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't EQ to tape.
Let's see.
I'm serious.
So let's open Raven. There it is. And if I play back our track again, we'll hear that the snare track is basically gone. So what I'm going to do, and now this has like capabilities for like multiple velocity switches and all that, and it's really, really awesome for that. But right now, I don't think we're going to really have time to do all that. So what I'm going to do is just load in a snare, and I'm going to load in one that I know has some low end characteristics.
Can you preview them?
No, you kind of have to just bring them in. Yeah, it would be nice to have a previewing option on the Raven, but let's see how it does.
What the fuck?
That's a little loud. But as you can see, it is replacing it. One of the things I did notice about this is that the volume it outputs is really loud, and it just distorts the track. So that was surprising.
I don't think Mike Payne's ever going to hear again.
No, I turned my headphones way down earlier.
See?
Yeah.
So we got that sample going. It's a little
I
robotic.
just got tired of hearing him talk.
Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, as you can see, we just added it in there. We're not really having much of a problem because it was recorded pretty well.
Right.
There's a little bit of weird triggering going on. So what I'm going to do is actually raise, it's called the mask time. And what that does is it sets a certain amount of time after the trigger where another trigger can't happen.
Gotcha.
So that kind of takes care of some of those things. But also I'm going to need to lower the threshold just a little bit.
Sounds like there's a little snare drum ensemble.
It needs to go down more, the threshold. And maybe lower this a little bit.
We should just insert a blue screen with the koala dancing going, waiting for technical difficulties.
Okay, so actually what I did is I made it so that there's only one velocity switch because we were missing a lot of the triggers.
Whoa.
And you see how it's all weird now,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Now, can you compare this to the original?
You can, but I'm just raising the threshold right now.
Right.
So that we're getting less of those ghost hits.
Yeah. Sounds
You
like
can
there's
hear,
like
it sounds a little behind too,
Yeah,
but
it's
we'll
about
we'll deal with that later. But what we can do is there's a mix up here, and you can sort of mix between the two tracks. So that's just our regular drum track,
Sure.
and we're mixing in some of that sample. Okay, so as you can see, it's not exactly perfect. If I had time to tweak this a lot,
Yeah.
we could really get it down. So, but basically, just to take care of the timing problem, what I'm going to do is highlight the entire thing, turn off looping, and just set it all the way to wet to the sample, and mix it down. I'll just take a second. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of a cheap way to get like the Pro Tools drum replacer. You could do this with, there's Audio Snap and Sonar 6. There's all sorts of different things. But if you're using something like lower end, say like Home Studio by Cakewalk, N-Track, Reaper, this will run in those types of programs, and we'll take care of that. So our thing is all bounced down, and basically what I'm going to do is just take it and bring some of the beginning off. Turn the looping back on. Oops. And just kind of listen. I'll solo the snare and our sample, and we'll just listen to it in here. Take off.
Popcorn's done.
Actually, that's a really bad portion to listen to because he's doing like a blast beat. Let's
So-
listen over here.
This is what happens when you do not
Yeah.
record your snare right the first time. Do you really want to
There we go.
spend hours on a mix doing
Let's
this?
listen to that.
Oh, here we go. I'm just going to move it forward a little bit. I'm nudging it.
There you go.
So now it's
Pretty close.
getting lined up better. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then just unsolo everything. So it's a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
We could definitely tweak it more to sound better. But you can see it's a pretty easy drum replacement program.
Yeah. It's like auto-tune for drums, man.
Yeah, I'm not into the drum replacement stuff, but every once in a while it can save a mix. You are going to spend a lot of time tweaking, as you can see, because, I mean, we just spent like, seriously, 3-5 minutes.
Yeah, but
doing that.
yeah, but when you got a drummer that does like to do a lot of rolls and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
weird
it's really not going
triggers.
to work
Yeah,
very
you
well.
can't replace that.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the multi-track of some of my newer stuff where the drumming's a bit more regular. This is
Yeah.
sort of a tech hardcore band, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really fit for this. But there's another way that we can sort of try to treat this, and that's with EQ, and that'll bring us to our next section.
And next we have what, the Blue Cat Audio how do you pronounce that?
It's
Is
a
it
parametric cue.
parametric cue? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So I'm just gonna delete this track, go up to
One of
And-
these days, I really hope we actually get some hardware up in here.
Hardware, schmardware.
okay. This is the parametric cue 3. This is the new version.
Didn't we already cover this?
We looked at the parametric cue, parametric cue 2, but this has some new stuff. And actually,
Oh, you're gonna love this, Britton.
This is so much rehashing.
You're gonna love this.
it's oh god, can we hold on a second? The display is not letting us see the bottom, which is like the most important part.
What does it say? Fuck you, Britton.
It has a non-linear control. A non-linear. Maybe if I hide this thing, the start menu. All right. So here we see the new parametric cue. Yeah, we did look at the parametric cue 2. This is the parametric cue 3. It has some new stuff.
If you're saying it's the non-linear thing, and that's the only new thing,
Well, also, with a lot of EQs, like these have the bands are all bypassable, like a lot of EQs. But if you have like a big like bump in one region, and then you unbypass it or you bypass it, you can get like a click. This sort of eases you into it. So let's just sort of check out how it does that. Or just listen to the snare and turn. Here. So you hear that? if I bypass the band, we're not going to hear any click.
Cool.
So it's good for your speakers in that respect.
That's true.
The other thing is it adds window opacity, so you can kind of see through it. It's kind of slick. Most of the Blue Cat plugins do that now, or all the new ones will. But the main thing for me is this non-linear setting, where if you start turning it up, you get a certain percentage of just strangeness. So if we turn this on, and what I'm going to do is bump up around, I don't know, what do you say, 300 to this snare? And we're doing it soloed. We should probably do it in the mix. That's starting to sound bad. And we want to widen that Q out a little bit, maybe. And so right now, what it's doing, if we turn this non-linearity up, it's doing some sort of compression to it. Not sure if you can hear that, but we could also turn it to distortion. And if I start adding a lot of this, you'll hear that it's really
move it up a little bit, higher in the frequency spectrum.
There's also a zoom in for, like, you can go up to 40 dB on this, which is kind of ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
But you could also, like, zoom in the window so you can get real precise.
Nice.
Like if you just want exactly 5 dB, you know. But yeah, this comp distortion I think sounds really good when boosting the low end. But let's see what happens when we boost high end. So I'm gonna go up here to band 5. I think it starts to sound a little brittle when you're adding high end with that non-linear thing going.
It sounds like a saltine cracker.
Yeah, see what it's doing? This is just the high boost. I'm gonna just widen the bandwidth a little bit to be fair to it, because when you boost, usually when you use a higher bandwidth, when you cut, lower bandwidth, generally Q rule. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is change this to the compression and see how that cleans up a little bit, and actually also turn down the non-linear percentage a little bit. And so that's no high boost. This is with the high boost. It's much. I'm doing this a lot more than I probably should just to show you guys.
You're actually showing its major flaw with plug-in EQs, and it's that the highs are extremely brittle.
Yeah. One thing that we can do though is oversample. Did you hear that change?
Yeah.
And oversampling is what you want to do when you're doing a lot of high, upper frequency boosting. So what I'm going to do is boost this high, and it's oversampled, so it's going to be a smoother high-end boost, as you can probably hear. It's more than I would choose to do, and now I'm going to turn off oversampling.
Yeah, you can hear a big difference.
Yeah. Right.
It does smooth it out a bit. It's still, I mean, like it's just the problem with any plug-in EQ though.
Exactly. I mean, this is not gonna give you the sound of like a real nice passive EQ. Mm-hmm. It's probably not even gonna get you the sound of a super high-end plugin.
And what's the price difference?
I believe this is under $100 on its own.
Yeah, I mean it's for a budget studio. This is a great solution.
It's got tons of options. It's not really a bad sounding EQ, but like I said, like both of us have said, you really just got to choose carefully what you do with these EQs. And that's with hardware and software.
That's with everything.
It's sometimes a little more hyped in software. And compression. You can apply it to pretty much any DSP or just signal processing in general. Too much is usually too much, unless you're doing something where you're looking for that.
Well, yeah. Well, there's times where you do need to compress the living god out of something. You know what I mean? Just flatten the hell out of it just to get like a certain sound. But I mean that's more of a mixing philosophy of like again going back to the beginning point of what are you going for as far as the sound and how you record it. Accordingly, and then you process it accordingly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just some other stuff.
Well, overall, I think this is a real nice EQ. There are 2 other versions. We have them, but we're not going to look at them right now. There'll be videos up, and make sure you check those out. I'm going to do screencasts of them.
Nice.
But there's also the stereo EQ, which has 2 bands that you can either link. This is the mono version, but you can use it over a stereo signal like we did today. But there's the stereo one where you could treat either channel separately, and there's also the widening, which is a MS matrix, so you can treat the center center channel against.
Is it a MS Matrix imaging system?
No, well, what all it does is there's it has two channels, just like left right. Instead of left right, it's center and sides or mid sides.
Mid side.
So you can EQ the sides separate from the center channel, and it's probably more of a mastering tool.
Well, this is my question about that though. Is it an emulation of MS Matrix?
How do you mean?
Like you're saying that it has like an imaging, like instead of stereo, like it has MS. Is it that you have to record an MS first?
No. You can treat any stereo signal that you want, but you could also treat a matrixed MS signal. I think you would need a decoder though.
Man, I don't know about that, man.
Well,
I don't know, boss.
I think you're taking it out of context. Like you're talking basically about for our viewers who may not know, having a matrix like 2-channel thing where the mid is on one channel and the side is on another, and you can bring in more of the sides. It's a stereo miking technique. If you bring in more of the sides, it brings in more of the room. Or you could
very useful for room recording.
So we've got the Guild AE30. Was that right? Is it AE?
GAD.
I just threw out 2 letters. I knew it was 2 letters. All right, we got the Guild GA30 right there in my man's hands.
Yes.
And we've also got the GA50 right behind that, which we're going to be checking out. So what do you think about that GA30 there, Mr. Drew?
It's not bad. The price is good. I have to say that I don't really like rhythm playing on this guitar very much. It's a very large bodied instrument. There you go. There's my cheat sheet. As you can see.
Let's see that again.
That's good.
Your finger's covering it.
That's good.
Spruce top.
So there's all the specs. It's got a spruce top, mahogany back and sides. The mahogany generally it's a harder wood, so it gives it more controlled tone. One thing I have to say, if you're buying any of these guitars that are from China or anywhere overseas, please get them set up the second you get them into the States, because obviously shipping a guitar like this halfway across the world, a lot of things happen to it. This particular guitar is very high action right now due to the trip here, and it could use a new set of strings as well. But this guitar is good for a couple things, and I'm going to talk about what it is good for. I like it for lead playing, particularly kind of like a gypsy type of lead tone.
Like a Django Reinhardt?
Sort of.
Not
Mango
exactly.
Reinhardt.
It's not exactly a Dell'Arte, but it's for a low budget solution. It's pretty darn close, and it has a hole which would allow
What
you
else was there?
to mount
Mango
a pickup
Reinhardt.
to it properly.
Mingus
or
do.
strap, or both.
So it's mainly designed from an orchestra type guitar, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a big full body guitar, but it's not very thick if you look at it.
Yeah, it's got kind of a scooped out sound, as I've said, at other times. But it's made, I think, to just kind of carry over other stuff. As earlier, Britton was playing the GAD50, and Drew was playing some lead lines on the 30, and it just they complemented each other really well. So yeah, it's got kind of this low end bump in a weird murky region, which kind of makes it not so great for rhythm.
But I like it a lot for finger picking. I like kind of a dark sound. I like to play a lot of dark things when I finger pick, and this guitar definitely complements that.
Sounded a little funny.
Welcome to the dark side with Drew Krag.
Not thinking about guitars.
We are talking about guitar.
Okay, gotcha.
Not cat power.
Oh, cat power.
That's a pretty cool tone if you're like into metal and stuff, but you want to do like an acoustic track or something. I don't know.
What, like, what, Stained? Was that the group, Stained?
What? Acoustic metal.
Was there an E there, or was it just STAIND?
I think it was just with the D.
With a D? Oh, man.
There was no E?
So you can hear the
That dude was such a
the lower
loser.
strings
Yeah,
have
he was.
kind of a throaty.
Yeah, it's vocal qualities.
Yeah. So it's not a bad guitar by any means. I don't really recommend it for rhythm playing. Definitely some leads and some finger picking.
It's not the most versatile thing, but
Let's check out that GAD50.
50.
There you go.
Jinx.
So this is kind of an opposite end of the spectrum. As you can see, typical dreadnought style body.
You're gonna kill me.
Spruce top. Indian rosewood sides and back. And that's what gives it its very warm.
Rosewood.
As you can hear, there's a slight buzz on this guitar.
Yeah.
But like I said, this guitar came all the way from where?
China.
So, I mean, that's a long way for a guitar to come. That's a
Probably
lot of,
from Bangkok.
That's Thailand, dude.
I don't know, Bangladesh. But yeah, as you can hear, it has sort of a problem with that E string up in the upper registers. I would guess that's something with the bridge and can be fixed with a setup. And yeah, like Drew was saying, when you get a guitar like this, you do want to get it set up real early, because that problem's most likely going to get worse if you just let it, stick around. Or, you could just keep it in its case for a while and maybe that'll fix it.
Like if you're a collector?
Yeah.
I hate collectors.
Why?
Britton hates collectors.
I'm freaking out, dude. You said I hate something.
Yeah. You're freaking in.
Yeah, I'm freaking in.
Right.
Well, I mean, I could go into that some more, but
Yeah.
let's just not.
Okay.
Let's just not.
Wow.
Well,
You're
guitar-
practicing restraint, Britton. I'm impressed.
Today's word is restraint.
Yeah.
Ah.
But in your case, it's ooh.
All right. Well, it's a very nice sounding guitar.
Yeah, this
Yes.
guitar I really like. It sort of when you pick it up, it just has that tone like it's an older guitar, something that's been played a bit.
It's very relaxing and rewarding to
Yeah,
play.
real visceral.
Yeah.
I felt very
Relaxed.
at peace.
Yes.
And,
You were one with the world.
and Buddha.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that
Fucking
has
Buddha.
to do. I think a lot of that has to do with the scalloped bracing. Usually, there's two different types of bracing: standard bracing and the scalloped bracing. Scalloped bracing just has sort of a thinner bracing in parts. The bracing is sort of cut into to allow more free vibration. So you usually get a lot more subharmonic content out of a guitar like that, and it makes it just sound like full and stuff.
Yeah, very full sounding guitar.
Yeah, it's nice sounding.
I would say if you have played guitar for a little while and you're looking to upgrade but you can't quite get over that $1,000 mark, this would be a really good guitar to check out. It's just you pick it up and you start strumming and it just feels real nice.
I just had deja vu.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
Wonder why.
I hate collectors.
All right.
All right.
Not bad for the money.
Sounds beautiful.
Very warm.
Well, that concludes Crosstalk show or program. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, I'm Mike Payne. This is Britton Weatherald. That's Drew Krag over there with a guitar in his hand. And of course, next to me is our very own Dan Augusto.
And that's some suit in the
Diabetes.
corner.
Diabetes.
Go koala!